Hi there, everyone. Nick here with WWPass. Today, we're going to talk about how to eliminate phishing attacks, especially by taking a new approach to user authentication, with no usernames, no passwords, and a zero knowledge privacy policy. Now, here you can see our agenda for our presentation today. First, I'm going to set the stage with some very important statistics related to phishing, especially during this time of the pandemic, which is full of uncertainty, but especially full of more businesses tending to migrate to a work from home environment. Next, I'll tell you a little bit of the anatomy of phishing attacks. Then we're going to share a great real life example of a phishing attack in a large company. Then we'll move on to compare traditional ways of combating phishing and taking a new approach. And then finally, to help you visualize everything we've said, we're going to show you a demo and discuss our solution at the very end. As you can see on this slide, one of the most important and pressing issues in cybersecurity, especially right now, are your stolen credentials. The statistics show that the number of phishing attacks in 2020 have increased at least tenfold, and login credentials are still the number one target. 91% of all cyber attacks started with a phishing email. And we all know that the main aim of any phishing attack is to get credentials in order to gain access to a user account. I believe we have many cybersecurity professionals watching us today, and we all know exactly what phishing is, right? But are you working at your company alone? No, no. There are BK departments, financial, legal, sales departments, and hackers abuse that. They use social engineering, sophisticated emails, emotional emails. They're very creative, all things considered. Info security departments, no matter how big it could be, how well versed their knowledge is, they can't control everyone and everything. And due to that fact, stolen credentials are still the number one target. It seems most of us simply forgot that the main aim of those attacks is actually human readable credentials. Let's show you an example. This is a real case and real statistics from an IT company that is actually active in cybersecurity right now. The company has around 2,000 employees. As you can see from this example, they made a phishing test that was sent to 560 employees. The overall result is absolutely horrible. 113 PCs are potentially infected because they clicked on a link. Of those, 63 existing accounts covering all departments are actually infected because they entered real credentials. So, what are the traditional ways to combat phishing like this? I'm not talking here about usernames and passwords because those are the single most vulnerable part of your IT infrastructure. I hope you're not using at least passwords because this is a thing of the past, all things considered. In order to protect you from phishing, businesses tend to strengthen their authentication by adding second factors utilizing OTPs, SMSs or messages, push notifications, etc. But does that really solve the problem? When you start with a username, which is probably a well known email address in most cases, you already make a hacker's life that much easier by giving out half the information that they need. So the main question still stands: how do you eliminate phishing attacks? Absolutely eliminate them. Well, the answer is actually a simple one: just get rid of usernames and passwords. Instead, start logging in with your identity. As a result, by taking this path, you have 1. No human readable credentials to compromise, 2. No targets for phishing attacks, and 3. No sophisticated or dreadful password policies. Okay, but let's take a look under the hood and kind of show you how our solution works. First, I'd like to say that WWPass isn't just another MFA. MFAs, or multi factor authentication, just adds layers of protection on top of an already faulty system, that being usernames and passwords. What we developed is actually a completely independent and self sufficient system. The essential thing about WWPass authentication is that it doesn't rely on human readable credentials such as usernames, email addresses, or passwords. Instead, we start authentication with something that you already have: the possession factor, which can be your smartphone or a hardware token. One of the main issues with usernames and passwords is that it almost like they were invented with a specific intention to compromise your privacy. When you enter your username, I bet your username is your primary email address most of the time. You pretty much let everyone already know who you are before completing authentication. This not only allows multiple services to link your activity, but also makes life so much easier for hackers. When one of the applications or websites you use gets hacked and leaks your password, it's extremely easy to try this password with all other websites using your email address as a username. So, with WWPass, we believe that the entire concept of human readable credentials is ridiculous. That's why we've introduced a better concept, the concept of protected user identifiers, or PUIDs. A PUID is a unique random number, and it's the result of multiple mutual authentications between your WWPass key, WWPass itself, and the application that you're logging into. Your PUID is always different for each application that you use. Let me show you a quick demo of WWPass authentication so you can see how it works. I'm going to use passhub.net for this purpose. Passhub.net is a password manager for individuals and teams with client side encryption. By the way, you can try this yourself at no cost. But also, passhub.net is a perfect example for WWPass authentication. This is the main page of passhub.net. As you can see, there's a WWPass authentication QR code, which I can scan with my WWPass key app. WWPass key asks to approve authentication, and then the app asks to run additional biometric authentication. Once biometrics are completed, or taking my finger and having my phone scan my fingerprint, I am logged in. And that's it. WWPass authentication is a super fast, straightforward process. From the end user standpoint, authentication always looks the same. You scan the WWPass QR code with your WWPass key app, or you click the Login with WWPass button if you're logging in using your smartphone browser. Once you do that, WWPass key asks you to approve authentication, and it shows you the name of the application you're logging into. Once you do that, WWPass asks you to approve authentication on your smartphone. Remember the possession factor I was talking about? And either asks you to enter your PIN or use biometrics like a fingerprint scanner. Non security critical apps may choose to skip that last step, which makes authentication even faster. Once everything's completed, the website or applications automatically log you in. At WWPass, we do our best to ensure privacy for our users. We not only isolate different applications so that they can't track user activity, but we employ a number of clever data encryption strategies to make sure that even ourselves, we can't access unencrypted or plaintext user data. That's uncompromised privacy. We'd like to show you how easy it is to start logging in with your identity and test WWPass login today. It takes you 5 minutes to download the WWPasskey app from the Apple or Google Play Store and check it out, for example, with PassHub, one of our products. Since it's an open source product, you may also download the SDKs and install everything yourself with the help of our extensive documentation and guidelines. Or you can always use our professional installation team. It's very simple, highly secure, and overall convenient. Just one more thing before we finish. Remember I showed you the phishing test statistics? This is the example of what your company could be doing if you use our WWPass solution. Hackers simply cannot steal something you don't even have in the first place. This attack would simply be useless. I'm Nick, and on behalf of our team at WWPass, thanks for listening.